Welcome to the final episode of the IOP Lens, where we explore the human side of industrial and organizational psychology. I'm Dr. Sane Ngidi, your SIOPSA president. This space is where we explore real people, real journeys, and the moments that help shape us as a profession. I can't believe we've reached the end of season 1. We've had great discussions around AI, technology, positive psychology. We've explored the stories behind SIOPSA as a body, and we've really delved into how we as IOPs can really influence the future world of work and the future of industrial and organizational psychology. Today, this final episode, we pivot a little bit and we start to think about the future of our profession. Today, we will be focusing on getting to meet the candidates who are in the race for President-Elect. Yes, the future leadership of our society. Leadership matters. These are the voices that will shape the future of our profession and really guide us as a society. And so I hope you're as excited as I am. We have candidates for this amazing episode, and we will get an opportunity to get to know each of them one-on-one. I'm going to kick us off this morning with a dialogue with Sylvia. Sylvia, welcome to the IOP Lens.
Hi, Dr. Sane. Nice to be here.
I can't believe we're here. I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic, but I'm also really excited about our conversation.
Me too.
For the viewers, we'd like to get to know you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Sylvia.
I'm an industrial psychologist, transition coach, and I'm also an adjunct academic.
Oh, that sounds fancy. What is that, Sylvia?
Those are the fancy words.
Tell people, what's an adjunct academic?
So an adjunct academic is an academic who's there to support the students. You know, the future generation is there.
Yes.
When we look at the student body. So they need to be supported. They need to be guided. And, to make sure that they do well in their studies. And we do a lot of research as well, because everything must be research driven.
Yeah. Where did you study, Sylvia, and how did you become an IOP?
I studied at Medunsa, the medical university. I've got a master's degree, and then I did my internship in industrial and organizational psychology.
And how did you choose the IOP career?
The careers, there's never a straight line. Choosing the careers. When I think back, at that time, I wanted to be in a helping profession. So I thought, okay, I'll be a doctor. And everybody was excited. Okay, you'll be a doctor. That didn't work out because, they want A in all the subjects. So I didn't get those A's. And the second option was to do social work.
Yes.
And the social work, there were a lot of interviews that people have to go through. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll do psychology. And, it's something that happened by chance. But because I've always wanted to be in a profession when I'm helping people, this is an ideal.
Yeah.
Because I can help people in personal and in the workplace as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That resonates with me. When I was younger, I thought that I'd be a pediatrician and because I wanted to work with kids, but also in that help. And then I realized the whole medical thing and I was like, redirect.
Yes, yeah.
Putting up your hand to be president-elect is quite a thing. Tell us a little bit about why you put your hand up and what impact you want to have on the society.
SIOPSA has been my home. I've been a member of SIOPSA for years, and then I've also been in the executive roles, and I've seen, what this society can do. So for me, it's a natural thing, to do it. And the impact that I want to make, I'm looking at the next generation of leaders. Because there's a lot of people that we have, so I'm looking at it like we call it legacy builder. So that's what I want to leave behind, is a legacy builder, shaping it. So I'm thinking, let's come up with a blueprint. Let's do a blueprint of how you become a legacy builder. And that we're going to have the current holders of the legacy. These are your psychologists that have accomplished, like yourself, ourselves, but there's a new generation that is still coming that we need to handhold. So we need to bridge that gap. So for me, that's the key, because we've got a wealth of information out there from the leaders, people who have been in that, but there's new upcoming they say you must leave the world a better place. So
Yeah.
what are we doing as IOP? So for me, that legacy builder is what I want to leave behind.
I love that idea of legacy, especially also because the SIOPSA presidency isn't just a once-off, right? There's the year of President-Elect, the year of President, and then there's a year of past President. So you have 3 years to really make your mark as a leader. Being a member-based organization, what can members expect from you as a leader?
So the key thing is engagement, and also identify the opportunities. Because there's a lot of opportunities for members. I remember when I was still in the professional practice, the issue of counseling, it was something that we didn't do, as IOPs, but it came up, as one of those things that can be done. So for me, the key thing, I want each and every one of the members to see themselves, either they are the legacy builders or they are the legacy shapers. So that's what I want their roles to be. And then look at the opportunities. We are serving in societies. What are we doing with our IOP? Like now there's this xenophobia thing. Where our voices as IOPs, when there's issues, I think SIOPSA has stepped in a lot of things. I mean, during the COVID, SIOPSA was there in the forefront. So those are the kind of things that we need to, and then put these leaders, the emerging leaders, also in the forefront to say, let's do it, because we are there to support. We have been fortunate to have leaders who are supporting us, and so we want to do the same.
One of the key focus areas for our 2030 strategy is around how we as IOPs have influence and impact and have a voice when it comes to things such as policy, advocacy, thinking around like how the SDGs and how we implement those and what they look like. So I like what you're speaking about there around like what's our greater real voice and impact as a society. We all have an experience of SIOPSA, and there's not one person I have met who hasn't identified something that they could fix from their experience. So if there was one thing that you could change about SIOPSA, what would it be and why?
We need to do multidisciplinary projects because I like the idea that we've got all these, different bodies, different areas, the focus areas. But think about it. If we can all rally towards this legacy builder initiative, and all of us, forget whether you are, you're doing a professional practice or you're doing PI, just come in and all of us, we bring our thoughts to it, because this is for the next generation of leaders. We don't want them to look back and then they're like, but they didn't pave the way for us. They didn't prepare us for this. There's so many challenges that we are facing now. We need to bring them up. Now there's a lot of unemployment rate amongst the youth. What are we doing about that? We can talk about it, but the real thing is we must bring them on board. If all the members, SIOPSA has a good member base. If all the members, all of us can say we adopt a young person. We get them, we prepare them, they get into a job and we position them so that they can succeed in the workplace. In the IOP, that's how we're going to impact, because then we can start going to places like, the HPCSA and say, how then do we, have policies that will govern all of those things to ensure that our people, they're not struggling to firstly get a job and also to sustain it.
If I had to say to you, Sylvia, what are 2 to 3 things that would be a focus for you in your presidency, what would they be?
Firstly, we need to look at the leadership from a different perspective. What we have seen, my view is that there is something bigger that we can do. And that thing, I want, all the people, be it the older people or the younger people, I want them to start having those dreams again, of a better future, a dream of impacting society, of impacting where they are. You don't have to have a position to impact. There's a lot of people that I know have made an impact. They are not even in a managerial position. So for me, that's the first thing, the visionary part of it. And then the second thing, the human AI interface. It's here. We can't run away from it. So we might as well start using it effectively as well. Because now, in our profession, we do coaching, we do counseling. The clients, they come, they've already checked with ChatGPT what Chat is saying. So they come to us just to confirm. So we need to be in the forefront and use it effectively for our benefit so that we can do well as a society. And the last one is about, the ethical behaviors. What we do, everything that we do, is centered around ethics. So you need to look at yourself, everything that you're doing. Are you ethical? Can you live with yourself? Are you servicing the people that you're supposed to service? So those for me are the critical things that we can focus on, making sure that, we keep adapting to all the changes. There's so many things that are happening, but we need to be able to have our voice. Our voice must be strong and must be where it's needed.
Thank you for that clarity. I guess the big question, Sylvia, why should members vote for you? Why should they put their trust in you?
I am shaping the legacy builder, and the members have an opportunity to be part of this movement where they will shape the future of it. So if they want to be part of it, they join the movement. And myself, as the president-elect, I'll be in the forefront sharing with them based on my wealth of experience and things that I've done to give back to the community. I thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. As part of SIOPSA, we're all here as volunteers giving of our time. I love the passion that you've shared with us, and all the best as you help us build the legacy of SIOPSA. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
That was our first candidate, Sylvia, that really helped us get a view of her beyond the CV, lifting the person off the page. Next up is a repeat onto the IOP Lens. Dr. Refiloe Ramodibe, welcome to the IOP Lens again.
Thanks, Sane. Hi. Hi, everyone.
I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself as a starter.
I'm Dr. Refiloe Ramodibe, and I'm currently the Transformation Chair for SIOPSA. And my 9-to-5 role, I work at R&B as a talent and performance segment lead.
Why did I get the song in my head? 9 to 5 when you said that. Tell us a bit about where did you study, Refiloe, and what led you to becoming an IOP?
So I studied at Wits, and ironically, I actually started with a Bachelor of Science degree. And the intention was for me to actually end up being a medical doctor. But I hated my lab sessions every Monday in first year. So I decided, let me rather do something that I actually enjoy. Initially, I intended to actually study clinical psychology because I was a big follower of Dr. Phil when I was still in high school. So I was like, I'm going to be the Refiloe version or the South African version of Dr. Phil. And when I was in second year, there was actually a professor at Wits who taught us ergonomics. And that's where my love for industrial and organizational psychology actually began. And then I pivoted from the clinical psychology courses and I started, and I've never looked back.
You actually made it to the medical side, unlike some of us who dreamt about it. And whilst you were wanting to be Dr. Phil, I wanted to be Oprah.
Oh, so wow. Okay.
Two different sides of,
right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Putting up your hand for president is quite a thing. What made you do it?
So, it's I've been serving on the SIOPSA board for the past 3.5 years or so. And I think for me, as part of, individuals that actually crafted the 2030 strategy, it actually, I relate quite well and closely to it. It's very close to my heart. So I'm very passionate about the profession, and I'm very passionate about where we actually headed from a strategic point of view. And I actually want to be part of people that deliver that strategy. So I think for me, it's just, I want to see this through. And what more can I actually then deliver it if I'm not in the, the president-elect position in the next 3 years?
I love that.
Yeah.
I think also part of your portfolio specifically right now within SIOPSA is a real focus on transformation. And a part of transformation is how do we show up for opportunities when opportunities arrive?
Definitely. I think I'm very also passionate, particularly when you look at the strategy, the way that we show up firstly in organizations, do we still carry the credibility as IO? Because when you have conversations with the HR fraternity, there's still a little bit of a fuzziness in terms of what is IO versus HR. So what voices are we actually carrying through within the organizations that we find ourselves operate in, number one. And secondly, part of the work that I have been doing as a transformation chair is ensuring that we actually have a voice in society. So are we actually going out there? Do people know what we are all about from a SIOPSA perspective? So through, media coverage, that we have actually done in the last couple of years, specifically in my tenure as transformation chair, it's a very important thing for us to actually then, show up differently. Do we make an impact in society over and above just being members of SIOPSA? So, yeah.
Awesome. The presidency is a 3-year tenure. What impact do you want to make over those 3 years?
I think, what I've just mentioned now, relevance. Are we still relevant, as IOPs? It's very important. Are we relevant as a society to our members, firstly? Are we relevant as IOPs in organizations? And are we also relevant in society? What contributions are we actually making? So for me, relevance is very important because we can't mark our own homework. So I think, what I've seen is that we actually create things that work for us, but are we actually creating, strategies that work for all our stakeholders holistically? Then secondly is building the pipeline. One of the focus areas that I've also been involved in around, from a transformation perspective, is ensuring that we build a pipeline in our society. So from the early careers of IOPs to the professional. So how are we actually building this capability going forward to align with the world of work and where the world of work is actually moving towards, because that's where the impact will be, right? It's not just about same old IO. We need to actually look at what is happening in the world of work right now and how are we actually then aligning with that space. And thirdly, obviously, I think I'm going to sound like a broken record now. Transformation. I think for me, it's a passion that I have around ensuring that there is a level of inclusion within SIOPSA. So it's not SIOPSA that is built just for one particular group, but for a variety of groups, for a diverse group of individuals. So I think for me, one of the things that I would like to see is we need to translate what transformation looks like going forward within SIOPSA. It's a journey. It's been a journey. It's gotten us to where we are, but there needs to be a different focus going forward in terms of ensuring that everybody is included. And SIOPSA serves all its members, whether it's, people that have been serving for over 30 years within the IOP space, to the young individuals that are coming up with different ways of doing things. How does inclusion actually look like for everybody? And I think for me, that's quite an important thing. And it'll help me transition what my strategy was around transformation into the space for President-Elect. Yeah.
So I'm hearing a little bit around what's worked for us in the past and how have we built and transformed as an organization, but also how do we pivot and what do we build for what the future looks like?
Absolutely. And I think it's about being open-minded to what transformation is and how we define it going forward for us, and I'm very passionate about that. And I'm glad that it's actually aligned with where the strategy is taking us from a 2030 perspective. Yeah.
Each president puts their own stamp on their year, right? Because leadership takes many forms.
Yes.
What can members expect from you as a leader?
I think we already have a strategy in place. How are we actually going to make sure that we execute on the strategy? We've already started. The leaders that are currently, including yourselves, you've already started in terms of implementation. So I think for me, it's about follow through, because it's good and well to have things on paper, strategy on paper, and it looks pretty. However, how are we actually going to make sure that we follow through on that? And I think that's one of the qualities that I bring in terms of translating the strategy that we have into, practical activities that we need to achieve as an organization. I think for me also, a passion of mine is creating space for others. I love this podcast. I mean, when we started speaking around putting something like this together, I think for me it creates space. And I see us actually implementing even other ways of creating space for individuals. And I've got quite a couple of ideas in terms of how we can actually see that through. So creating space for everybody, every member. And lastly is leading with integrity. I think one of the core values that I live with as Refiloe, beyond just the being an IOP, is integrity. So everything that I do, it's integrity is quite an important thing. It's about ensuring that there is transparency in everything that we do from a leadership perspective. It's ensuring that we are fair. We make sound decisions that, as they impact on every single member within our society. So those are the three things that I would definitely bring into the space.
Awesome. Yeah.
Sure.
The how of leadership is such a critical part of this role. A little bit of the spicy question. Having been in the society for how many years have you been a member of SIOPSA?
Oh my goodness, since 2009. No, I'm actually lying. As a student, that's
we won't count how far back we're going.
It's about 18 years. Oh, okay. It's about 18 years actually, because I actually registered as a student, and we were encouraged to actually start participating in SIOPSA then. And I've been registered. I've never skipped a registration.
I have, but we're not going to talk about that. PhD years. Having been a member of SIOPSA for so long, there are obviously some things that work and don't work. If there was one thing you could change about SIOPSA, what would it be?
I think for me, it's making sure that we strengthen the connection between what we put in place from a strategy perspective with what the members expect. So we don't build for ourselves as a leadership team, right? But is there a connection between what members are expecting of us, and what because I've seen it. I mean, I co-ran the workshops with Anne last year when we went through, we went to different regions, and some of the feedback that we actually received was that we're not serving the members what they're looking for, and it's about ensuring that what we actually put on paper and, it connects to what people are expecting, because then we're not here for ourselves, right? As leaders, we're not here just to tick the box, but we need to make sure that all the members within SIOPSA are actually getting the value that they paying the membership for, number one, and also that they, being part of SIOPSA, it has to create value for you as an IOP. So that's that.
Awesome.
Cool.
For members who are voting, what are the 2 or 3 things that will be your focus for the presidency?
I spoke to some of them earlier. I think for me, relevance is very important, and visibility, because we already have such great work, but a lot of the time our work is actually not visible. So people don't know what we do, what we get to do. So it's about creating that visibility. And with that visibility, it will actually attract more members or more individuals in the IO space to come into SIOPSA. So those are the 2 things. I think relevance across the board as a practice, psychology, IO as a practice, and relevance from a membership perspective as well.
And then the final question, the why. Why you? Why should members put their trust and vote you in as President-Elect?
So I'm very good at actually taking strategy and putting it into practice. And I think for me, that is what is required here. As I said earlier, we do have a good strategy in place, but it's about how do we actually implement that strategy. And I'm a very practical person. I know how to translate, big concepts and ensure that we deliver. I'm very hardworking. I think, as much as I've been a transformation chair, there are roles that I've been involved in within the SIOPSA space where there were gaps, and I'm definitely committed to this profession. I'm committed to SIOPSA, and I think for me, that's one of the things or the important things that I will bring. It's commitment and ensuring that we do actually deliver value to the members and other stakeholders at large.
Thank you, Refiloe. I think my takeaway is each president steps into the role and builds off of the efforts, hard work of prior presidents, right? We're all adding a brick onto the story.
Yeah.
And as you've said, our North Star, our guide is our strategy. And in this case, it's our 2030 strategy. So my takeaway is that your view of leadership is stepping in, building onto that story and helping us achieve what our 2030 objectives are.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm not here to break the strategy. I know I can be a maverick, but it's just ensuring that there has been alignment in terms of where we headed. And it's about seeing it through. So I want to be part of when we get to 2030 and I can look back and say I was part of ensuring that we delivered on that strategy that we created.
Awesome. Thank you. I think I'm very clear about what your value proposition is and wishing you all the best on this process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Refiloe.
Thank you.
That was David, who reminded us about the power of collaboration and member value. Our final candidate for President-Elect hails from KZN, and she is joining us now. Dr. Buhle Makhanya, welcome to the IOP Lens.
Good day, Dr. Sane. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Buhle, to get us started, please tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about how you've become an IOP, where you've studied, and how you've become a member of SIOPSA.
I think my journey is totally different because when I did my undergrad in IOP, I stopped, had to go back and into the workplace and work. For so many years, I worked as an HR practitioner. I said, because the role that I was doing, it did require an IOP lens. I said to myself, let me go back and do my honors, which eventually I did. And then after that, I continued to work in human capital at the managerial roles. And again, that thing of saying this profession does need an IOP lens in some areas. And I had to go back and do my master's part-time. At Tunisia, I graduated and then write board exams, do the research and became an IOP. And then for me, that because I was working at the same time and then became an IOP, I said for me, I'm late in this career in terms of IOP. And then how do I add value into this profession and make sure that all the relevant knowledge that I acquired theoretically and academically, I practice it. And then not only that, but to connect with other experienced IOPs in the field and gain a knowledge. So that way, I started to do my research and then I heard about SIOPSA as a professional organization for IOPs. I said, why not? Let me join them, which really, really helped my career so far where I am at a managerial level. It helped me a lot. I started volunteering in so many areas at that time. I was not even aware what was my niche. And then there was a workplace wellness committee, and then they said they wanted people to be committee members there and volunteer because all my roles in the previous employers have been working in the wellness space. I said this is the area that I want to be in, and then I volunteered in that committee. Little did I know that committee would turn out to be an formally recognized interest group, and then it was later called the Mental Health Interest Group for SIOPSA, and then I was elected as a chair. So that's how I came into SIOPSA. But apart from that, and then I realized that helping people and organization realizing that we industrial psychologists' role is very important and it's very unique. And then I learned so much being a chairperson, having webinars, talks in relation to the well-being, and I later discovered that young people themselves, they don't know much about IOP through the engaging with academia and so on. And then I raised my hand again and become a mentee in one of the interest groups, the SIOPSA, the GCPP, and then I joined that as well. So my passion for SIOPSA and the profession itself, it shows in volunteering in so many areas in the organization. So as a result, I said my time is coming to an end as a chair, but I still want to contribute to SIOPSA. As a result, I'm standing in for President-Elect, not not because of the title, because I believe in the future of our profession, especially with what is happening post-COVID, post-floods, and post-looting in KZN, and so many things that are happening. You can see the world of work with AI and technology is changing every minute. So I want to make an impact there, and we have a critical role to play as IOP professionals.
Thanks for that, Buhle. I mean, you've played a critical role as leader in the interest group for mental health. And that's it's an important space as we think about mental health in the world of work, but also it's been a space where we've created support and held space for our members as well. Buhle, tell me a little bit about where did you study and how did you end up picking IO psychology?
I studied at UKZ, and back then it was 1998, I believe. 1998, I majored with IOP. At that time, there was little career guidance. I think I was good at it naturally because whenever we wrote test and exam, I was tops. And then after that, I went to UNISA for my honors, a part-time, as I mentioned earlier, and then my master's at UNISA again. And then I studied at UKZN, which I graduated last month as a PhD psychology graduate at UKZN. So that my life has been between UNISA as well as UKZN academically. Yeah.
That's the little piece I was missing. That final congratulations on getting your PhD. And then, yes, hearing how you've, through your experience as an HR professional, really identified how having the IOP capability is important in your career and then going to study further. Okay, great. Buhle, the presidency is a 3-year term, really. It is the year of president-elect, the year of president, and then finally as past president. When you think about your presidency in that 3-year term, what impact would you like to make on the society?
I think for me, first of all, as president-elect, if I'm being elected, is visibility and connection and being influential in so many areas. If I can start unpacking the visibility part, for me, because most of our members as well, they are regionally based at the same time. So for me, the presidential roadshows would be the key. Year 1, I would do that, and year 2 and year 3. Remember, we were mindful of cost as well, but because I'll be voted by people and for the people, it will be my responsibility to go back regionally and have some breakfast session, whatever form it is, and hear the IOPs themselves, the challenges that they come across with them, because regionally everything would differ, and opportunities that they have, either it's an academic space or private practice or the ones that are working industry. So I will need to do that. That is first of all. And then another thing that I've realized, Sane, in terms of connection and visibility and being influential as an IOP, I've seen around media, whatever form of media, we have people that have taken our space. You hear those people talking about leadership, talking about coaching, they're talking about mental health, yet if you see their background, they are not IOPs themselves. So we are positioned right as IOPs to claim that space as well. For me, having memorandum of agreements or MOUs with media houses as well, because currently you are being invited because you are known by somewhere else or connected with some radio personalities. But as a SIOPSA, we're a big organization having well-experienced IOPs themselves that can take up that space and have a calendar to say, with all this unemployment rate, social issues, so there's a role that we can play in terms of making that information correct and making sure that we have a correct research and people that have public conversations. That's how we are going to influence a society, because we are trying to do that. We are trying to talk about the future of work. We are trying to talk about issues that are happening in our society. And for me, I can also extend and build on our social media and media platforms that we currently have, and have that standard calendar. I think for me, I want our members as well to experience the value of their money, for the lack of better word, if I can say that. And having that roadshow as well, it's good. But I need to make sure that I need to listen to their experiences. I can have something like ask a president on a quarterly basis, and invite questions or concerns or opportunities. Remember, I cannot lead by myself, but I can lead with leaders. Because remember, the IOPs, they are leaders in various areas themselves, in their practices, in their organizations, in academia. So I want to lead with them. I want to give them that opportunity and space. But having said that, Sane, I cannot leave behind the emerging ones, the young ones, the interns. I've learned a lot through mentoring program with the universities. We need to give back to our communities. We owe them so much. The questions that they ask during those mentorship sessions, you can see that the knowledge that they have when it comes to our profession and the impact that we can do as IOPs is very limited. So for me, that space as well, I can make it bigger. I know that currently SIOPSA does that, but I can focus on them in terms of having SIOPSA Emerging Leaders Academy, so that we can take through them and take them through that program, even if it's a 6 weeks online program, but we can co-design with them as well. We are very big in stay interviews and employee engagement in the workplace. Why can't we do that for SIOPSA, having annual surveys as well? And here our IOPs, depending on the levels, on the professional level, what is it that they want to see happening? For me, feasibility and connecting with them would be critical. But not only that, Sane, we know that one of our key roles is to make sure that we influence policy. We need to make sure that we influence our society as well. So with the research that we have, I know we have PhD students and IOPs that are very experienced doing research as professors, as individuals. Why can't we have a single platform for all that research and develop practical toolkits that enhance organization to make decisions when it comes to human capital space? I've seen with SAPPP, they have 13 standards when it comes to human capital. We can play a big role in those standards. I was involved in the auditing of those standards 2 months back or so. So many elements that talk to IOP there, but our voices are not there. Why can't we co-create those standards and review those standards with the organizations like SAPPP and other relevant organizations to our space? So for me, visibility, connections, and influence, there's the space I can focus on in the next 3 years. For me, it's for the members to be seen, to be heard and fed, and as well as the society itself, to make sure that we influence the shaping of our work in South Africa.
Awesome. If we look at yourself, Buhle, each leader has a different way in which they show up, in which they lead. How would you describe your leadership style, and what type of leadership would you be bringing to this role?
Mine is very simple, Sane. I think I've touched on it earlier to say that I need to listen widely as a leader. That will be my key focus areas. Like I've said, that we have different level of IOPs within the society. We have experience ones that are coming in. We still have potentials that are still at universities, that are studying IOP, that are interested. Those are our future leaders. So I can make sure that I have categories of listening campaigns at work. We have what we call Siyalalela campaigns on a quarterly basis, even on a 6-monthly basis. We can do that as part of town hall, so that we can listen widely, because we need to tailor make what we give them or the benefits according to their leadership role. But again, that will not be separating them, but that will bring everyone one in the place. And then communicating openly, again, we need to do that. I know that we have ESCO meetings and any other meetings that are very strategic and so on. But for me, I can bid on that as well and make sure that the decision that I'm taking at ESCO, not everything, I know some of the things are confidential, But 1 or 2 points in social media, like who Alan is always assisting us and say, these are the decisions on a quarterly basis that have taken that will impact you as a member, and this is how it's going to impact you in a summary form. And obviously, Sane, as a leader, I need to collaborate intentionally with others. I've done that in mental health. I think in mental health, we ended up having the awareness channel, having the counselors forum, the WhatsApp group, and we have more than 200 members in those groups, and they are intentionally engaging with us. So those platforms I will enhance them so that we make sure that we collaborate with other stakeholders. Remember, in psychology itself, there are so many feeds. I've seen the Psych SA, I've seen other organizations as well that talked to our profession as well and have MOUs with those organizations, but I don't want to see them in conferences only or in webinars only. They need to be part of our management meetings as well, so that we can collaborate intentionally with them and deliver consistently as IOP. For me, sustainable leadership is not about one individual. It's not about myself. As I've mentioned, we need to build the capacity for the future. The mentoring program needs to be strengthened as well in universities. Not only in universities, I see a space for us as well in high schools. Why can't we collaborate with organizations or schools, even where I come from as well? They were amazed that I'm a doctor in psychology, because they were saying to me, how is it that possible coming from this particular school? Because we need to go and influence the young ones as well. So as SIOPSA regional, we can have schools where either we identify where we come from, or we can have another criteria for CSI project and go there and talk about IOP. What is IOP? How can we contribute to the society as well? So those are the types of things that I can definitely do. For me, Sani, I always say I'm not a person that believes in emails and believes in talking back and forth. I believe in action. So the members can expect a action from me. They can see the result. I can share with them the calendar, our strategic priorities, and then on a quarterly basis, give them a feedback, what we've achieved and the outcome, and so on. So for me, Sane, I want members to experience SIOPSA that is accessible. Like I've said, we can have what we say called a ask the president, so that they know that I'm accessible at any time. Obviously, we would have guidelines in terms of making sure that particular platform is being done in a way that is responsible and confidential.
So I'm hearing a theme around listening, collaboration, member value, transparency. In order for us to be effective and our best as a society, we have to identify ways of improving. Buhle, what's one thing that you would change to improve and strengthen SIOPSA if you could?
I think for me, it's just to strengthen our member connection as well as participation. Especially, I've noticed this, especially on the regional part of it. So, some of the things I know I've connected with you as well in some of the things and said, we are here in KZN, want to participate. I think others, even if they are Cape Town, wherever, they want to contribute at a national level with SIOPSA as well. I want to create that member connection and participation experience, so that even if you are in KZN, even if you're in Western Cape as an IOP, a member that is in good standing, you feel that you are part of SIOPSA at any time. So for me, I would do what we call, I've seen, is it APA or SIOP in they are doing what we call a member spotlight, a member spotlight. I've seen IOPs in LinkedIn, in social media, either it's academia or private sector or even government. They are doing a lot of things. They're writing good papers, academic papers, and so on. but we need to create a platform so that we can spotlight them and share those success stories wherever they are, so that they can feel that they're being recognized even within the community itself, because we are a family and SIOPSA, it's a professional family. So we need to even be recognized at home, not only the people that are outside that need to recognize us. So for me, one of the things that I make sure that I can strengthen is the member connection as well as participation as well. Obviously, Sane, we cannot run away from leveraging technology. I know we have started with that, with social media, podcast, and so on, and online communities. We have done that as well. So we need to strengthen those and make sure that we do that more and more often. But not only show us the experienced ones, even the young ones as well at universities. Why can't we have a student chapter, even on social media? Because that's where they will connect. I know when we do have these mentorship programs, they don't even know us. I always tell them, this is my handle, this is SIOPSA, this is how they don't even know. Even if we can have ambassadors from universities and make them participate and make them the leaders of those student chapters in SIOPSA social media, obviously with boundaries, with ethics, and we all know that because they are future leaders. And then again, Sane, for me, stay interviews, why not for our members? We have members that have been in SIOPSA for more than 10 years or so. Why can't we ask them, why are you staying? Why are you staying? Why you have stayed so far? And even a one-year member can tell you something, that why am I staying? Like myself, I think when I joined 3, 4, 5 years back, I thought maybe it was a one-off thing, but the reception and the collaboration and the recognition, I felt seen by SIOPSA, I felt heard by SIOPSA every time, from the president to the colleagues. So that's why I have stayed so long. But we need to hear those voices from others as well, Sane, and then we can improve from there. Thank you.
Buhle, to close us off, as individuals are considering which candidate to vote for, why you? Why should they put their trust in you as president-elect? So if you can just give us a quick takeaway as to why you're the candidate.
I think they all know that is not always about me. They have seen my role in the mental health interest group. It was about the vision of the profession. It was the vision of the well-being of the SIOPSA members as well as the community at large. So my vision is simple, Sane. As I've said, I want SIOPSA where an individual will say, a member will say, I am seen, I am heard, and I'm being fed, whether you are geographically located where, but you see the value of being a member, and not only that, but influential in the society. For me, that's the key takeaway for me. And then they have their support for me at any time, at any stage. My door will always be open for the members to take this profession forward.
Thank you so much, Buhle. Thank you for putting your hand up, stepping up to the plate and willing to be the leader. Thank you for sharing with us your vision for leadership. I think it's clear. We've heard your focus on listening, your focus on transparency, on collaboration, on member value, on voice, and wishing you all the best on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sane and the team. Thank you. Bye.
And there you have it, candidates who've stepped up to the plate, who've put up their hands and said they are willing to lead our community, our society for the betterment of the IOP profession as well as South Africa. I'm really excited about the passion that they bring, the value that they bring, and what it really means for our leadership pipeline and the sustainability of our organization. So, to everybody who's been listening, to our members, don't miss the opportunity to vote. The future doesn't just happen to us, we create it. You have an opportunity to select who you believe should lead the future of our society. It's a bittersweet goodbye. Thank you for joining us for this inaugural season of the IOP Lens. Thank you for engaging with us. And thank you for all our guests who shared of their stories generously. I hope that as you've watched, you've seen yourself reflected in our guests. You've heard real stories shared. You've learned something. You've taken something away. And you felt that you have a sense of empowerment, of agency, of learning, of growth from this season. A reminder, SIOPSA is a community for our IOPs, for those who are passionate about what IO psychology means in the world of work. So continue to follow us, like, share, subscribe, and look forward to the next season. I'm Dr. Sane Ngidi, President of SIOPSA, signing out for Season 1. Bye.